Welcome. Oh my God.
I'm gonna be stuck like that forever.
I had no idea.
Your mom used to be like, you make the face, you're gonna stick like that forever.
I had no idea.
How many of you have the face that you got stuck in? Raise your hand.
I used to cross my eyes all the time. My mom said that if I keep crossing my eyes, they would get stuck.
I think...
They didn't. I can't even move one of my eyes.
I think somebody told my dad that if he ate watermelon seeds, he'd grow a watermelon in his stomach.
They were getting stuck. Somebody told me that about cherries. If I eat cherries and I swallow the pit, I'll have a cherry tree in my belly. I think my mom told me that. So of course,
why do mothers lie?
I swallowed the cherry pit and I quietly sat there waiting for a tree to grow in my belly, and I said nothing.
Overnight, you were like, that's it.
Right, that's it. That's it.
Die.
I knew that was the end of me. I didn't know how long cherry trees take to grow, but I assumed it would be 3 days.
Well, if there's anything that we know about cherry trees, is that if you have a cherry tree growing in your belly and you come here, it will die.
It will die. All cherry trees die here. This is the place where cherry trees come to die. We don't know why. Something with the soil. They just don't grow here.
They get some weird infection and then that's it. They're
like
done.
that. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new here, this is Survival Coloring, day 30. And it is, in fact, the last day of Survival Coloring, so you have 29 episodes to catch up on. It is going to be pretty epic.
Wait, what? Pretty?
Pretty epic.
I didn't sign up for pretty epic. I'm out of here.
Very epic? Somewhat epic? What did you sign up for? No, come back. You're the tech support. What did you... Somewhat epic? Very epic. Extremely epic. Magnificent. The epiciest ever. The best show ever made.
Okay.
Yeah?
I'll take that.
Okay.
You had me at epiciest.
Welcome to the epiciest show ever. I'm Lisa Mitrakin, and this is my lovely
boy.
assistant.
No, that's not my name.
Tek Support.
Tek Support! That's me.
So today I will continue working on this mermaid, which is drawn by Matt Davidson, and I actually put the link to his shop in the video description this time.
Can I say his name like Flash Gordon?
Yeah.
Matt! Ah! He drew that mermaid that Lisa colored.
Is amazing, and his art is amazing. And the link to his shop and his wife's shop is in the video description. So if you do want to get this page and whatever else you may wish to purchase from their store, that's in the video description, because you guys have been asking me for the past 3 shows. And I'm like, oh, just go watch the live stream. Well, today I'm responsible and I actually put the link for you in this video's description so you don't have to go searching through the internet. And while...
That's the searching through the internet face.
I make that face when I search for things on the internet. But while I'm working on this, and this isn't the only thing that we'll be doing today, I will also show you everything that we've done together over the past 30 days of survival coloring. So that will be fun to see as well. But while I'm coloring, we have a guest. Who's our guest tonight? Who's our guest tonight?
Tonight we have a special guest for you.
How special?
You are not prepared for just how special. In fact, you know, I'll just let his accolades speak for themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages,
mental and physical,
I introduce you to the spoon.
There goes our fun.
Hi. Hey. Hello, Grandma. How's everybody? Hi there. Thank you. Good to see you. I understand we're going to have a play this afternoon.
Nice for you to come from.
Yeah. We've been looking forward to it for a long, long time.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's performance. The first show for tonight will be Raisin Bran. Oh, it's the raisins that make Post raisin bran so great, oh, it's those raisins that make post raisin bran so great. There goes our friend. Spoon grabbing. Yeah. Oh, it's those raisins that make post raisin bran so great. Oh, it's those raisins that make post raisin bran so great. Oh, it's those raisins that make post raisin bran so great. Oh, it's those raisins that make post raisin bran. There goes the hammer. Oh, it's those raisins that make post raisin bran so great. Oh, it's those raisins that make post raisin bran so great. Oh, I wish there were enough to my wiener.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
The spoon.
The spoon.
Okay, if this is your first time in the stream, you're probably like, what did I just see?
Doesn't it explain so much about Tek Support, though? And
Well,
how
what-
adorable is Baby Tek?
Once again, yes, I'm very small in these videos.
Cute and wiggly.
So the spoon is actually my father. And I have the spoon with me on this little device that I'm holding up in front of my microphone. Father Spoon, are you with us?
Father Spoon is here.
Father Spoon, awesome.
Baby raisin.
Hey man, how old were? Well, I don't know how old. I don't want to say how old were we. How old was I when we did that Raisin Bran skit?
We're thinking it was done in '83, so that would make you 10, maybe 9.
Okay. Yeah.
83. I was 1 year old.
You would have made a delicious raisin.
No.
No comment.
Do you remember doing that at church and actually having outfits that mom made out of like crepe paper or something?
You guys did this at church?
No, I don't.
We
But I just looked at Mom, and she remembers,
She remembers everything.
but I don't remember that we did it someplace other than at the house. That must have been kind of fun.
Yeah, they used to have these. I don't remember what they were called, but like everybody would get together and put together skits. There's a name for them. Mom probably remembers.
Talent show?
Talent show. There
Talent
you
show.
go. Yeah, and so I remember performing it on the stage at church.
Nice.
Ah, good times, good times, good times. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you. It's
Oh, yes, my
it's
pleasure.
amazing
Actually,
to have you.
It's a privilege to be with you on your last show of this series, so thank you very much.
Going out with a bang.
Yeah.
We have
Indeed.
lots of people here. We have lots of questions. I know that there's questions coming by in the chat. Let me actually. I'm totally behind in
I'm
the.
sure there are a lot of questions about what we just saw.
Yeah, there's gonna be tons of stuff, but let's dive right in. This is going to be one of the shows that goes long, so we'll spend whatever we can, 20 minutes, until we run out of questions or until you run out of stories. But one of the most popular questions is, how did you meet my mother?
Mama Tek.
Mama Tek.
That is one of the most significant things that happened in my life. I had just come back from being underwater in the submarine that I was on for 70 days. And I was one of the few people on the submarine that owned a car that wasn't married. And a buddy of mine wanted to go out, and this was in Hawaii. He wanted to go out, and I had a rule that I never lent my car to anybody because I knew they would get drunk, being sailors, and they would Buick GS 400 convertible.
Nice.
So it was actually a very cool car. So he talked me into taking him then if I wasn't going to give him the car. And I didn't want to do that either, but he talked me into it. And so I said, all right, let's go. So he's taking a shower and all this and that, taking all this time. I said, come on, let's go. I want to go to bed. Well, he took me to a place near Waikiki that I'd never been to before. And we got the very last table for 4. It was the last table in the place. The place was packed. It was a dance place. And Mom walked in, and she, with her cousin. Her cousin was 10 years older, but Mom was hot. She was wearing a halter top. I'd been underwater for 70 days. I grabbed a waitress, and I said, if those ladies would like to sit here with us, we would be, we've got room. So that was one of the more bold things I'd done, because I was kind of shy back in those days. So they did. They sat at our table, and I thought, yes. And so I grabbed Mom, and I would dance with her. And the big song that the band played was Inagata Davida by Iron Butterfly.
That's a great song for a restaurant.
It was a 17-minute long version.
Nice.
And I kept putting my hand on her waist because it was there. And I'd been underwater for 70 days. And she kept twirling away. So I asked if I could maybe get to know her and get a phone number, and she said, no, I'm sorry, I don't date sailors, and that was that. So I did, however, get the cousin's phone number, and so I took the cousin out a couple of times just because I wanted some companionship and somebody to talk to that wasn't a Navy guy. And I went with the cousin one day to pick up, or I went to where she worked, and she was running late, and Ginger was there. And the cousin said, would you go out and keep Jim company for a while because, I'm running late. So she did. She sat in the car with me, and we talked, and we got to know each other a little bit. And I said, I don't know exactly how to do this, but I would really like to take you out sometime. So she said that I could take her to an event that was happening on Sunday, this is Friday, which was out in the harbor of Honolulu, Waikiki Harbor, and it was a boat with drinks and people and so on that I could take her because she didn't have a car. So yes, okay. So Sunday rolls around, and I go to pick her up, and she says, now I want this to be really clear. You are not with me. I am there to work, and you're just my car ride, okay? I mean, she probably said it nicer than that, but that was the bottom line. So I get on the boat, and if you remember the scene from Top Gun where Goose and Maverick go into the club, and one of them says to the other one, this is a target-rich environment.
Right.
Well, that's what was on the boat. There were all these women there that I didn't know, and they didn't know me, and they started to crowd around me, and I said, okay. And the next thing I knew, Mom grabbed me, said, you're with me, and we have been together ever since.
I love it.
All right, then.
That's the end of my life.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
I love stories that start out with,
It should be a
I do not
movie.
like this boy. I will not date this boy.
Hey.
I too have a similar story.
You want to know the irony of it? She was herself used to be in the Navy. She wasn't in the Navy at the time. I was a submarine sailor. Her father was a World War II submarine sailor veteran who retired from the Navy after 20 plus years. And she just wanted to have anything to do with me, which I didn't understand, but that's okay. I was persistent.
I am proof. Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Where do you guys live? I mean, I know the answer to that, but I have to pretend like I don't. What large city do you live in?
Yeah, we're very near. We're north of Las Vegas.
Okay.
So we moved here because we had been in Colorado. We were done with the snow, wanted someplace warm. This worked out really well. There's no state income tax here, so the cost of living is lower, and it's really very nice here. We already knew about the heat because we used to live in Phoenix, as of course you know, because that's where you live. And we don't gamble, so that's not important, but it's a nice city.
And what do you do in this nice city that all of us know as the city of sin and the land of decadence? But you're north of all of that. So what do you do in your spare time?
Well, right now, because I'm retired, I was an engineering manager with Hewlett-Packard when I retired. And after that, I had time, so I became a licensed financial advisor, and I did that for several years. And then we moved here. And so now in my time, I do reading for the blind and dyslexic. I do that pretty much every single day. And that can be done online. It used to be only able to be done in the studio. And when they opened it up for being able to be done online, I do that. And I also do prison ministry. So those two things take up my time. And in my spare time, I chase your mom around the house.
Does she like to be chased?
Yes, Mrs. Marcellus would not approve. Don't let her catch asthma. So you were on submarine. Did you choose that? Did you go into the Navy wanting to do that? Did that just kind of like you threw a dart at a wall and you were like, yeah, sure, submarines. How did you end up there?
I was in college, finished, and it was during the Vietnam War. So it was looking like my only options were going to be getting drafted, which I did not want to do. And I looked around to see what the military might have. Oh, I had joined the reserves because that seemed like a good thing to do. And I ultimately thought I could become a pilot in the military, in the Navy, if I joined the reserves. Well, that didn't work out. But because I was in the reserves and they were going to snap me up and put me on a ship of some sort as a bosun's mate or whatever, I saw that they had a program that was almost 3 years long to train a person how to be a nuclear engineer. And I thought, okay, well, let me do that because that'll be more time. And that's what I did. I became the reactor operator on board the submarine that I was on. And I did that and stayed in the Navy for almost 10 years. So what was kind of special about those 10 years was each patrol underwater was 60 days long, except the last one that I mentioned, which was 70. And then I took the submarine through an overhaul and put in a new reactor core and other things like that. And then we did sea trials, so we were kind of home every single night. And when I totaled up the time that I was in the Navy, with my last 3 years being on shore duty at Ford Island in Hawaii, I was only really at sea and completely out of reach for 8 months of those 10 years.
Wow.
The rest of the time I was in training, I was on shore duty, I was on sea trials. So yeah, I had a really great Navy career.
Yeah. I love how you just casually said, oh yeah, I swapped out the core of a nuclear reactor,
Right?
and then I had some pancakes, and then I went to the club. like that's a normal thing that people do. I mean, it's not changing the spark plug in your car. Or maybe it is.
Well, no, you're right. It was much more than that.
Okay. What would you say was the scariest part or the scariest time when you were on a sub that you can share with us? Because I'm sure there's things that happen that you can't tell us about.
There was an event.
Ooh, that sounds good. Something
And it was,
happened.
yeah, it was potentially scary. Because of nuclear power and its danger, Admiral Rickover, who started the nuclear program, had an organization called ORSE, O-R-S-E, stood for Operational Reactor Safeguard Examiners. And these guys would show up every, 2 years or so, but one way or another, they went on board and monitored and tested every single nuclear-operated vessel in the military, in the Navy. And they were on our submarine. And these guys were, you do not mess with these guys. They had absolute power. They could ground a submarine, or they could dock a submarine and prevent it from going on patrol if they felt that the people who operated the reactor were unsafe. So we were being examined, and the examiner created an emergency by doing an emergency shutdown of the reactor core by dropping the control rods in. And we had about 3 minutes or so to recover before the submarine completely ran out of power. So it was a very, that's the most significant thing short of being crushed that could be happening on a submarine. So I was the reactor operator. I was on the panel. So I couldn't do anything on my own without being ordered by the engineering officer of the watch, the EOW. And he gave me a command that had I followed it would have led to ultimately the reactor core melting and exploding.
Ooh.
So I resisted the command. I couldn't just say, no, sir, that's wrong. I can't do that. I tactfully communicated to him the correct procedure. And this guy was very arrogant. He was just an arrogant guy all the time. He was kind of like, I'm an officer and you're not, so you're scum and I'm not. Mm-hmm. And he said, don't argue with me. Do what I said. And all this was being observed by the examiner. And I again resisted, and he again insisted. And the examiner stepped in and he said, ignore that order. Engineering officer of the watch, you are relieved. I am now in command.
Oh, I just got chills.
He issued the correct orders, and I recovered the reactor, and everything was fine. It was the way it was supposed to be. Wow. What was interesting about that was I never saw the officer that gave me the incorrect command. I never saw him again. He was disqualified and removed from the submarine, and I have no idea what happened to him, but he was gone. That's how serious it was.
Nice.
Wow.
What a great story.
He's on KP for life. One of the people watching the streaming said that her husband knew Admiral Brickover and called him Uncle Hank.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, small world.
Indeed.
Wow, that's a great story. I didn't know that story. That's
incredible.
Huh.
Oh, yeah, and Mom is reminding me that I actually wrote a short story about that event called Zero Tolerance, because that's what the Navy's attitude toward anything nuclear is. You cannot make even a twitch of a mistake without there being serious consequences. And in his case, it was extremely serious.
Yeah, like probably career devastating.
Absolutely. So if anybody's interested in that, let Lisa know, and I'd be happy to email it to them or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're interested in seeing a short story about how my dad saved a nuclear reactor from exploding on a submarine, let Lisa know.
We actually have a colorist in my group who works at a nuclear power plant.
That's right.
I don't know if he's with us tonight, but I'm sure he will watch the show later and we'll have some comments on this, because he's an essential worker, so he has to go and feed the nuclear reactor every day or whatever you do with it.
Did you guys see the miniseries Chernobyl that was on like a year ago?
We did see that, yes. In fact, whenever there's anything about something that happens to a nuclear reactor or any program about a submarine, I tend to watch them all. So
Okay.
We watched, even the bad ones. So we did watch Chernobyl. We watched about Fukushima. I was understanding what it was that they were doing, how they were trying to recover, how extremely dangerous that was with no cooling. And so, yeah, that was a great program. And then also the program about the containment that they built, that the French built to wrap around Chernobyl. That was awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet, but I know you recommended that to us. So did you somebody has asked if you knew somebody, and it's okay if you don't, or I don't know, but did you know somebody named Master Chief Baird, who was a nuclear engineer and specialized with nuclear submarines? Does that name ring a bell?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
At the time that I was in, there were 41 of us that carried the missiles, the Fleet Ballistic Missile submarines, and they were known as the 41 for Freedom. So he would have been most likely one of those other boats. And then there were all kinds of fast attacks as well. But we carried the missiles. We carried 16 missiles. Every missile had 5 individually targetable warheads that could go to its own destination. So whatever 16 times 5 is, that's how many nuclear weapons we carried. And then the new generation of submarines carries 24 missiles. And if I remember correctly, they have 12 individually targetable warheads per missile. So pretty lethal weapon.
Yeah, just a little.
And the whole purpose of it was to be a deterrent, so that the USSR at that time, which doesn't exist now, would not launch a missile strike against us, because there were, at any given time, 30 submarines with 16 missiles with 5 warheads per missile out there somewhere in the Pacific or the Atlantic that would just annihilate any country that attacked us. So it worked. I read that
There you go. You also were a pilot, and you also worked on the railroad. Where did those fit in your timeline?
Yes. Railroad was when I was in high school on my way to college. And our family we didn't have a lot of money. They certainly didn't have money for me to go to college. And I got a job with the Great Northern Railroad working over the summertime laying ribbon rail across North Dakota. It was a great job for a kid. I was out in the sun using pounding stakes with sledgehammers and all kinds of things. So I did that for 4 years, basically, to pay my way through college. And then after that was when I joined the Navy and so on and went on from that. And what was part 2 of your question?
Being a pilot.
Flying.
Yeah, flying.
Right. When I was, my last 3 years in the Navy, when I was on shore duty at Fort Island, there was a flying club there. And I thought, well, that'd be kind of interesting. I always liked to fly. I wanted to be a pilot in the Navy, and that just didn't work out.
You don't sound anything like me at all.
No.
Oh, yeah, there's a thing. Yeah, sure. Be a pilot.
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. I'm here. It's here. Looks like fun.
Yeah.
And so I did, and I loved it. And so I went from being general aviation private pilot, got all my flight instructor licenses, and ended up teaching flying. And I left the Navy after 10 years for that purpose. I left the Navy to be a full-time flight instructor. We moved to San Diego, and that's what I did for several years, was I taught other people how to fly.
Huh. And why did you stop flying? Sorry. The microphone's actually down here, and then the speaker's up there, so I forgot to move my phone. Why did you stop flying?
At that time, it was very hard to make a living as a flight instructor.
I think that's still true.
Still true.
It's still totally true.
I made literally $3 an hour, and it just wasn't enough to pay the bills. And so, as much as I loved it and was good at it, I had to find something else that would be more financially useful. And so I got into sales, ended up working for Honeywell as an engineer for them, and then ultimately got hired as a field engineer with Hewlett-Packard and did that, and then became an engineering manager within Hewlett-Packard before I retired. But I just couldn't afford to keep flying and pay for a family, have the income for a family with 3 kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. When Lisa and I were training to become pilots, all of the flight instructors were just trying to book hours so that they could get hours towards their ATP rating so that they could actually go off to the airlines and do stuff.
And most of them are in the airlines now, and they still barely make
yeah,
any
they
money.
still don't make any money. It's unfortunate. They treat them like bus drivers.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I was intending to do the same thing. However, at the time that I was flight instructing, we were in a recession. And so the country was shutting down up to kind of like what's happening right now, except we weren't quarantined or anything. And there was, the airlines did not have people flying on them anymore. So the airline pilots were all being laid off.
Yeah.
And when the recession ended, the airlines rehired the pilots that they laid off. So the timing was wrong for me to ever go on and be an airline pilot, which is what I really wanted to do.
Yeah, I've spoken to people who work in the aviation industry, and one of the things I never understood is that if you've been a pilot for 20 years for United and then you leave and you go to Southwest, you start at the bottom. Literally in seniority, like it doesn't matter how much experience you have, you start at the bottom. You get the worst routes, the worst pay. And that just makes no sense. These are super skilled people who have built careers on safety, and well, many of them. It's just unfortunate that we don't treat them better. But we can say the same thing about things like teachers too. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of other people out there that deserve more than what they get. I didn't know that your title at HP was field engineer. I was a field engineer at Rancher.
That was fun
That's
to hear.
super cool.
I know that title.
Yeah, but I didn't move on to become an engineering manager. Now I'm the director of community and evangelism.
Yes.
Ooh. Did you have one of those at HP? Did you have a director of community and evangelism?
There probably was someplace in one of the manufacturing divisions, but not where I was. And yeah, that's very that makes everybody aware of Rancher and who they are and what they do and how awesome they are.
Yep, because I'm a personality. Cult of personality.
Yeah.
We have a question here that asks if you are.
For the last 30 days.
Wait, what
Your
did?
personality. For the last 30 days, we've been seeing how awesome that is.
Yeah, I'm a character. So we have a question here that asks if you are also good with technology. I think they mean like compared to mom, perhaps?
Compared
or...
to you.
Oh,
You-
compared to me.
if
Oh,
you're
wait.
Tek
Wait.
Support.
No, there's another question I wanted to ask before you answer that question. Did you, in your time as a pilot, did you ever have an opportunity to teach mom how to fly?
Great question. Yes, I did. When we were in Hawaii, I did. And everybody said, no, you cannot teach your wife how to fly. That's just a recipe for disaster.
Why? Because like she wouldn't be good at it, or why can't you do it?
No, the relationship gets in the way, and you can't differentiate between business of flying and learning how to fly an airplane and just the business of, for lack of a better word, of being a husband and a wife together. So it was just highly discouraged, but our relationship was such that I knew we could do it. So I did. I taught her how to fly, and she flew through her first solo flight with me when I got out of the plane, and I said, go ahead and take it around the pattern and do some touch and goes. And then she did a check ride with me, practice area on her own. So yes, I taught her to fly. She was really good, but it just didn't excite her like it did me. And so once she knew that she could handle an airplane, if something ever happened to me, if we were ever together, she did not fly again. But she was a great student. Plus there was the expense of renting the plane and all of that as well. And again, being in the Navy, just didn't have a lot of extra income.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about the cost per hour for planes back then. It was like $12 or something,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, when we were learning, it was like 150. So, so you be quiet.
That's right.
Hold on just a second. There's a comment for Lisa.
Yes.
Oh, good Lord, what is that noise?
Ooh, it was like a guitar.
Mom's going to get it. That's our telephone.
Oh, that's the phone. Wow, it sounds terrible coming through Skype. It sounds like a freight train for clowns.
With the mariachi band. What
Okay,
is
hold-
your question?
Decline the call.
Hold on a second, Dad. We have somebody here from France, and Cindy's been talking to her in French through Google Translate. She says that there are many fans of yours in France. She asked what was going on. Cindy explained, and she says that she loves us both.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Okay. All right, we're back.
How long before you learned French?
I got to learn Spanish first, and then I got to learn Russian.
I have to remember French. I used to speak it.
It's probably not going. I know all the French I need to know. I'd be like, oh, and that's it. And I can sing that song. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. I just alienated everybody from France. I'm so sorry. Oh, that's funny. Okay, my last flying question for you then. This is actually this is not in the questions that we sent you earlier. Did you ever have an opportunity to take your own mother and father up for a flight?
Oh, yes, I did.
Do you feel like telling that story or no?
Do you know this story?
I know this story.
I'll share it because there was a lesson in that flight, which was really important. I was a private pilot. I was working on my commercial license. And the reason I could afford to ultimately get my flight instructor licenses is because the VA paid for 90% of my training once I became a private pilot. And they had a program then that if this is what you want your career to be, they would pay 90% of whatever the lessons were. So that's what allowed me to move on and become a flight instructor. So I was working on my commercial license. They came to Hawaii to visit, and I set up a flight in a Cherokee 6 with them, and we were going to fly from Oahu to the Big Island, to Hawaii. And I didn't tell them. They did not know that I was a pilot. So they came, and we're at the fixed space operator, and I'm out there getting the plane ready to go and doing a pre-flight. And so they're thinking somebody else is going to fly us. So I came in to the fixed base operator, and I said, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I will be your pilot today, and we'll be doing nonstop over to the Big Island." And my dad said, "Well, if you're the pilot, I don't want to fly."
He didn't.
He did, but he
Wow.
didn't know that I was being real. He thought I was just kidding around.
Was he kidding? Was he kidding too?
Wow.
Yeah,
did he take
was
it
kidding
back?
Because he knew I wasn't the pilot. So Mom grabs him and says, "No, Dad," and my face, it just fell. And Mom grabbed him and said, "No, Dad, really. He's been taking lessons. He's working on his commercial pilot's license. He's been flying for months, years, whatever it was. So he is the pilot." And so Dad, immediately apologized and everything. We all piled in the airplane. So on our way to the Big Island, I was using the VOR to navigate, and I made a mistake. And I was pointing to the wrong island, and I was therefore going to not get to the Big Island. I was going to get to Maui or Molokai or something like that.
Right.
And the thing that I learned, the lesson that I learned, because I was still new as a pilot, was to always double check myself against my maps, against the navigation and everything, and cross-reference everything. And that's how I realized that I had made a mistake, because that island did not belong there.
And you're like, who put that there?
Yeah, exactly. And so there was no way to correct a mistake without it being noticed. And Dad was up in the front to the right of me, so I changed the VOR to correct heading and changed the heading of the airplane to point to the right direction. And I had to say, I was going to the wrong direction, so I made the changes now. We're going to the right place. And Dad said, I was kind of thinking that we were maybe not doing this the right way, but I didn't want to say anything. And I said, "Really?"
You should have just flown over the other island and been like, "We're just doing
is the
scenic route. Look, down there, it's an island. Now we're going to go to a different island.
Yeah.
This island is bigger."
If I'd been faster on my feet, I probably could have done that. But there was an excellent lesson there, and I shared that with all my students, is the importance of always double-checking where you're going against your charts, against visible landmarks, against the navigation system. Of course, it's a lot better now because there's GPS, so it's kind of hard to mess that up, but still.
Yeah, but we still, even though there's
I never
GPS,
used any of that
Lisa never
stuff.
used GPS, and
I'm
we were
super
still taught
analog.
all analog because they're like, "What if your GPS goes down?" I'm like, "I have two of them."
Like,
They're like,
I
"What if your other GPS goes down?" I'm
refuse
like, "I have a
to use
spare one in my
GPS.
backpack." They're like, "What if there's an EMP pulse?" And like, I don't know. I have a GPS in the back of my brain. But Lisa was
I would
all
never use
maps and
Yes, I had an actual notepad on my knee that I would do math on with a pencil, and everything, all my charts, everything was analog.
She's really good.
My compass was an actual compass, not
So
not
kudos
an
to your flight
iPad.
instructor for making you guys also learn that. Yeah, that's great.
We had different flight instructors. There was one flight instructor that I really didn't get along with, and Lisa got along with him great. And
Yep.
then Lisa had a flight instructor that she's still friends with.
Yes,
Chris?
Yes, he even came down to visit us in Chile.
Yeah, he came down to visit us. He's on. Does he watch the show?
He might.
Anyway,
I'll tell him to watch this one.
so Chris is still a friend of ours, and he flies for an airline now. And yeah, he says
He's
that,
probably grounded now.
well, yeah. So, but he told us a story shortly after we moved here that he missed flying as an instructor because he actually got to fly. And when we were training to be pilots, we would get airline pilots who would come in and because they wanted to brush up on their skills on just stick and rudder because they never get to use it. They take off and they switch the autopilot on.
Yeah,
and then they fly to their destination and then they switch the autopilot off and they land unless they're in one of the newer Airbuses which lands for them. Yeah.
Yes, Chris says that he does about 5 minutes of actual flying per flight.
That was the problem. That was the problem with China Airlines when they crashed in San Francisco just short of the runway because they did not have the stick and rudder skills and they were relying totally on automation.
Yeah.
And they misjudged by 30 feet or some really small number like that.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, that's very important.
Yep. Okay, we're going to pause for a moment because there are more comments and questions for Lisa that she
Okay.
needs to answer.
Yes.
First of all, everybody really loves your pen.
Oh, my pen. This is a peacock pen. As many of you know, I have a pet peacock.
Can I make a peacock noise?
Named Kevin. Yes.
There you go.
He sounds like that, but only in spring. The rest of the year he's silent.
The rest of the year, I just sound like that.
Anyway, this is a peacock pin that is a gift from Madame Lori, who is with us in the chat today.
Hello, Madame Lori.
And these are some of the feathers from my boy Kevin.
And so is these. So are these. So is these.
And so is these.
Talk be difficult.
Actually, this time of year we have peacock feathers all over the house. We have vases and buckets with these really long feathers because at about midsummer, peacocks drop all their beautiful tail feathers. And that's dozens and dozens of really long, really beautiful feathers that are just all over the place. So I collect them and they're in vases all over the house and I make little trinkets out of them. And now he's growing his train back. So if you guys haven't met Kevin, there's an episode called Birds of a Feather on my channel where I introduce him to you. So you should check that out.
Can you take a moment and go through some of the colors that you've been using?
Yes, actually, I've been going crazy here. I'm sorry. I introduced this violet from Prismacolor to establish a really dark purple base for this tail. I've also been going over it very lightly with black, so going back between violet, like deep purple violet, and black. And also for my highlights, I've been using this, what is this? Pale Sage from Prismacolor. Pale Sage is a very, very pale green color, which is perfect for highlights on something like this. I really like this color. For the pink, little pink highlights, I used, how would you pronounce this?
Sherbet.
Sherbet.
It's the proper way of saying sherbet that Americans say.
Really?
Yeah, it's sherbet.
Ah,
That's
okay.
that's what the ice cream is.
What he said.
I know all about ice cream.
This pink color. And then finally, I'm using a Prismacolor white for these tiny, tiny highlights that are like little reflections. And that's it. Those are the only colors I've been using. I lied. There's one more color. This is the chartreuse, the green chartreuse that we discovered the other day. There's yellow chartreuse and green chartreuse. This is the green chartreuse, and I just started using it. I haven't used it on this piece at all, but it's here, and I found it, and it seemed like it would make for really nice final bursts of color because I did make the tail very dark, intentionally so, but I don't want it to be like gloomy or creepy or depressing or anything. I want it to be more glamorous and elegant. So little bursts of really friendly, bright color, I think will be nice. So I'm working with a chartreuse now.
They want to know so Kevin is the boy.
Kevin is the boy.
What's
correct.
the girl? What's her name?
The girl is named Dusty, and she is the best bird that we have.
She's super sweet.
She's so sweet and very smart. Very, very smart bird. Girl peacocks are not called peacocks, they're called peahens.
Yes, they know.
And she does not have a big fluffy tail to train. She just looks like a very glamorous chicken.
She goes, fuck.
Puck.
Yeah.
She's very, very
She's
sweet.
very sweet.
Yes, Dusty.
Okay. Back to you, Mr. Spoon. We have a couple more subjects that people would like to touch on, and I just noticed the time. So
And we still have a few
and we have clips, yeah.
clips
So we have
to show.
subjects and clips, yes. So the first subject is going to be frogs. Do we show the clip first?
Yeah, let's show the frog clip.
Okay, we're going to show the frog clip first, and then when we come back, we will talk about frogs.
How to draw a frog, not Lisa style, because you would be much better at this than this is going to be. Or, to give it more personality, and so on.
Frogs. Frogs.
Ribbit.
Yeah, Lori is a huge fan of frogs. As you know, I was Kermit the Frog at Sesame Street Newsflash. You draw flogs.
Flogs.
Flogs. Flogs. Well, actually, I think frog became vlog, like a vlog, because we're YouTubers.
We're memers.
Ugh. So mom makes frogs. I am a frog. You draw frogs. Madame Lori loves frogs. What can you?
Frogs.
Yeah, what can you tell us about how you learned to draw frogs? And is that the only thing you draw?
Yes, why frogs?
I'm only laughing because that's such a simple way of drawing a frog.
But it's a frog.
Total of my skill as an artist.
Oh, I see. I got all of my art skill from you.
Oh, well, your skills are better than mine because you've enhanced them, and you're, if nothing else, you're getting them just from osmosis of sitting next to that lovely lady that is your wife. So
Yeah.
your skills are great.
One day I'll do an art show and we'll see just how great my skills are.
Well, you will be. We'll be
Oh, we're
having
doing the Space Force draw.
Space Force
They'll
draw.
be better than that. Yeah, a friend of mine in college drew a frog like that one time, and I said, "Oh, I can do that." So that's how I learned. Was way back when.
Was
the only
it
thing I draw?
was it a key part of your strategy for wooing mom?
With frogs.
I'm thinking back, and I don't think so. I just wooed mom on my chivalry and my awesomeness and I'm just kidding. But whatever it was over 50 years ago. In fact, I met mom on August 22nd, 1969, and I celebrate that every year with her as an anniversary because it is an anniversary. It's the anniversary of the day that we met, which was really an important date. So, no frogs.
And then when did you get married?
June 27th, 1970.
So
Don't put him on a spot.
June, and then Reno was born a year later on June 23rd, 1971.
yeah, busy.
So,
So if you were married in 1970 in June, that means you're rolling up on the 50-year anniversary here in another month.
that's exactly right. 50 years.
Wow.
1/3. 2/3 of the 3/3 of life that I've lived already have been with mom, and it's been fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Huh.
So romantic.
You also make, let's see, hang on a second. How do we want to fit the other clip in?
Let's just show it. Well, remember when we showed the bunny thing, the bunny frou-frou?
Yeah.
Toy display puzzle thing that fits together. Well, Mr. Spoon here has a bunch of those as his hobby, and he's made quite a few. He's assembled quite a few, and just because we didn't take the bunny frou-frou out of the box completely to show you guys, I do have a few pictures to show you of his models that are already assembled, just so that you can get an idea of how intricate these things are and how complicated. So we have that clip for you.
This is 30 seconds long, and there's my dad standing in Las Vegas. Okay, that right there is his graduation certificate as valedictorian of sub school.
And that's the sub.
This is the sub that he served on, the USS Ulysses S. Grant. It's obviously not the sub, it's a model of the sub. Here are the models that he makes. There are a lot of them. They're super intricate, and there's one that he's actually constructing that looks like it's a musical instrument with a crank of some kind. And he gave me as a present a rabbit called, well, we call it Little Bunny Frou Frou, that we have not yet built. This studio that we're in right now is going to have a dedicated area for him where we can just work on him, and we're actually going to film the whole process of that.
Yes, the completion of the studio will be celebrated with the construction of Bunny Frou Frou.
Yeah, we had to stop construction because you know why. Because we can't have people in the house right now. So... so how many of those models, Dad, have you actually made? Do you know? Can you count that high?
Yeah, can I count that high? It's 10 or 11. So, 10 or 11 I have 5 more to build, and you're right, they are complex, they're fun, there's no words to the directions, it's all pictures. And so it does take some time to, the musical instrument that you saw is indeed a hurdy-gurdy.
Oh yeah, Elf just said it's a hurdy-gurdy in the chat.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right, and Elf is right on. So I've got 5 more to build, and the last one that I bought, which I haven't started yet, has most of them have anywhere from 200 to maybe 350 parts and pieces to them. Mm-hmm. I just bought a car that has over 700 pieces to it. I haven't started that one yet, but that's going to take a while.
And there's no words in the directions. It's like an IKEA project from hell.
It's all pictures, and sometimes it takes a while to figure out what those pictures are telling me. But it's a lot of fun. I really do enjoy it.
What's the longest that you remember one of these taking to build?
Well, I work at it over time, and so probably 2 weeks or so if I work at it every day for an hour or so has been the longest one.
Okay.
Oh, no, Mom is saying it's been longer than that. So,
She's standing over here with a stopwatch. Ready, go! And he's off, and he's taking the first part out of the press, and he's looking at the instructions, and he's still looking at the instructions, and he's looking at the instructions, and he's trying to fit the part into the part, and oh, that's the wrong part. He grabs another part, he fits the part, and he's looking at the instructions, and he's turning the instructions around, and he's flying to the wrong island, and he's... Okay. Wow.
I see somebody on the chat is asking where they can be purchased.
Yeah, where?
I have gotten most of them from Amazon.
Okay.
And if you put in U-Gears, U space Gears, Gears, that will get you to a company in Ukraine that has many of the models, including the hurdy-gurdy that you saw. Another company is Rocker, R-O-K-R. And I like them, I think, the best because the other companies, there's a third company, the other companies use toothpicks to hold everything together. There's no glue of any sort. And Rocker actually uses little pins that you put in to hold things together. So your little rabbit frou-frou, that's by Rocker, and that's got pins to hold it together.
Nice.
Nice. You got me the high quality one. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Well, we are rolling up on an hour. I want to make sure that Lisa has enough time to go through the half an hour of stuff that she has. So we should probably wrap this up. But before we let you go, do you have anything that you would like to share with the internet? They're listening.
Oh.
No pressure?
No pressure, no pressure. It's actually only like 25 people that are listening, but still, the rest of
It's okay. Hundreds more will come.
hundreds more will see
By
this.
morning, there'll be 300. By the end of the week, there'll be 8.
Well, there is one thing. Actually, there's a couple things that I could share. One is based on, from time to time, you have made comments about how terrible you were as a child. And Mom and I look at each other and there's memory of, what Mrs. Marcellus did and stuff like that. None of that is relevant anymore. And I saw this great quote that really fits you and would fit other people too, that goes along with what it is that you have done over the last 30 days. And the quote goes like this. And I don't even remember where I saw this, but it says, if you erase all the mistakes of your past, you would also erase all the wisdom of your present. Remember the lesson, not the disappointment.
That's really good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So, everybody's done stuff in their past, but we've all learned from it, and the wisdom, and you exemplified that. The wisdom of your present, everything that you're doing was in part from things that you learned from your past, and that would be true for all of us. So, I like that. Remember the lesson, not the disappointment. And I have to remind myself of that from time to time as well, because, I messed up in the past also. So, yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys.
Well, thank you.
And particularly with the fact that we all are where we are today because of things we learned from the past.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You're right. That's important to remember.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I would share, and I actually made a note about this, it didn't come up as asked me, what is it that made your marriage last so long and be so successful? And there are some definite things that I would share. First of all, the change in me happened, and I became much more relevant as a human being when I became a Christian back in 1985. But some of the things that I learned and that Mom and I do with each other, one of them is SOS, spoil our spouse. I learned that from a lady that I was flying with when I was flying back from Hawaii one time, and she'd been married a little bit longer than I was, and she said, you know, my husband and I, we go out of our way to spoil each other. We don't talk to each other like a parent talking to a child. We talk to each other like an adult to an adult. And if one of us wants something and the other one says, yeah, that looks great, let's figure out how we can get that. So we spoil each other. And I took that home to Mom, and we've been doing that ever since, and that's great. Another thing that I learned was that we do not treat each other as if the other person was dumb, sick, stupid, crazy. And that's typically by way of tone. So if somebody says to the other one, what'd you do that for? The unspoken but implied part is, you dummy. I mean, were you born under a rock? You should have known better. What were you thinking? But while those words don't get said, the tone says that. So we never talk to each other that way, because that's a parent talking to a child. And that's just, I mean, an adult does not talk to another adult that way. And the third thing was, we never use sarcasm. We learned once, probably in a Sunday school class or something like that. Anyway, the root definition of sarcasm is flesh tearing.
Wow.
So we just don't talk to each other that way. Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Yuck. Precisely. So we've done those things. Marriage has been fantastic. I look back with great joy on the life that we have had with each other, and the life that we have as long as we're here going into the future. And the life we had with you, too. Just watching those videos and laughing, and the family and those things that we did together, and with my mom and dad over there that participated and stuff. Really nice memories.
There are nice memories. Well, everybody in the chat is going absolutely bonkers and saying that they loved having you on. They want you on again. We're going to have to do live streams. Yeah, we're going to have to do more live streams where you come back. So
But yes, we will have more live streams, just a standalone live streams, and certainly we can have more guests.
Yeah, we can have more guests. So start digging around for the memories and the stories and the things you want to share, and start making a journal, because apparently you have a fan base that's already... We just might have to put you on your own YouTube channel. You can just...
That's right.
You know, story time with Papa Tek. Put you in a big chair with like a, I don't know, a smoking jacket. Not that you smoke, but I don't know, a bathrobe.
Bunny slippers.
Some bunny slippers. That's right. And
a frog hat.
A frog hat and a bag of cookies.
Indeed.
All right, Dad, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's a pleasure for me as well. Thank you again so much for allowing me to be part of the last day of survival coloring. Really, what you guys have done over the last 30 days speaks for itself and has really made a difference. So thank you.
Awesome. You're very welcome. Well, we'll see you in the chat. We're probably still going to be on for a
the
little
show.
while. And yeah, we'll call you after the show to debrief.
Okay.
All right. Have a great night until I talk to you.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
That was so much
Actually,
fun.
have a great night until I talk to you, and then have a terrible night. Like, I don't know
Right.
what I meant by that. I meant have a great night. I'll talk to you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, the spoon.
Yay.
There's only one. He's like Highlander spoon. Thunk. 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 It's not even that funny. Thunk.
It's hilarious.
Okay. So this is apparently going to be a stream that's longer than an hour.
Well, I actually finished my coloring, believe it or not.
Yay!
I actually
My arm is
finished
sore
it.
from holding the phone up.
Oh, you had to hold it.
Oh, poor me. It was so heavy.
Wait, my sound is on, right?
It should be.
Okay. I turned it off for one of the clips, and then I'm not sure if
People couldn't hear you snorting?
Never mind.
Hey, Dad, what's this from? Huh? The funny thing is she's pretending like she doesn't know. She knows exactly what it's from.
I know not.
Okay.
Okay, so my coloring is done. I will sign this and I will send it to Matt Davidson sometime in the next millennia when we leave the house again.
Daughter of the Mermaids. Works at Disney.
Eventually, maybe in 2021, you will receive this by snail mail or pigeons, whatever we're using these days. If there are any final questions on these, I'm happy to answer them. In the meantime, I wanted to show you guys, because there are some new members with us who may not have seen the first episodes, I want to share with you all the things that we've done from day one. The first coloring that we started on was this picture of Astara, because we started survival coloring right before Easter. So I'm actually like high on.
It's like in
on
Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay.
Tell me if it's better with the light on or worse, because some of these pages are a little bit shiny.
Yeah, that looks really shiny. When you hold it there, it's good. If you hold it flat, it's shiny.
But without the light, is it still
without the light, it's terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah. So turn it on, but don't hold it flat. Hold it up a little bit. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So Ostara was the first one, and we finished this picture I think in 4 episodes. The first week of survival coloring, we did this one. So you can certainly go back and look at those episodes. But also what I started doing in my spare time that I now have an hour of a day is putting these episodes into a single tutorial. So this was the second picture that we did. This is the little light of hope. And this one took 5 days for us to do together, plus some time on the side that I would work in the evenings and make little recordings for you. So all in all, this took probably like 16 or 17 hours to complete. But I've been working on this one to put it in a tutorial that's about 40 minutes long. And that's like a collage of all the episodes that it took to make this. So people can use that for reference, so you don't have to watch 5 episodes to revisit how to color this. Or if you're new to the stream and you just want to see the technique for the colorings and not have to watch hours and hours and hours of silliness with Tek Support, which why wouldn't you? It's wonderful. So this is the one I'm working on now, and that episode should be ready for publication next week. So this was a little light of hope. And all the pages that we worked on in survival coloring are available in my Facebook group, Tom, in an album called Survival Coloring. I finally got it to match. So it's pretty easy. Go to my Facebook group and find the album called Survival Coloring, and all these pages are there as free gifts for you. Then we had a whole lesson on Patronus charms and things that glow in the dark. So I had this one made and recorded, and then we did Patronus charms that we can do with kids. So we had a crafting day with Tek Support, and Tek Support
I made a spider.
Made a spider. There it is.
Okay, can we pause for a moment to talk about spiders?
Yeah.
Every night at the end of this live stream, so some of you know that like I am hunted by spiders. Every night at the end of the live stream, I've started all the microphones and the soundboard and stuff, and I stand up, and directly above my head is a little tiny baby spider going. This camera, I came out today to set something up on it, and as I'm messing around with it, out from one of the pieces of Velcro comes a spider that's like, hey man, what are you doing?
Yeah, they're always around him. It's been going on for years. So actually, for the Black Widow show that we're doing on the 23rd, I'm going to have little spiders on strings hovering over him. But Black Widow spiders, get it? Promotion.
Okay, I get it. It's better than real Black Widows.
No, I won't hang real Black Widows.
I have a jar of Black Widows. I'm going to throw them on my husband.
Just going to sprinkle them on you throughout the show. Fairy dust, fairy dust. Spider dust. All right. And then after that, we did a whole thing on crystals, using these crystals as a reference from one of my very old tutorials on crystals that's still up on my channel somewhere. And we did this one together where we did multicolored crystals And we had JoBeth on the show as our crystal expert, and she told us all about tuning crystals and talking to them and the different types of crystals and energies and all that stuff. And this page is also up in my group. And we've had some amazing guests on the show, haven't we?
Oh, absolutely.
We had medical professionals. Madam Lori was with us twice. We had Megan, who's a molecular biologist. We had Matthew, who is recovered from COVID. We had a homeschooling lesson with Allison. We had your mom and your dad. Am I forgetting anyone? If I'm forgetting someone, I'm a terrible, terrible host.
I was gonna say they weren't on the survival coloring. They were on
They
the
were
mermaid.
they were on the mermaid, and then JoBeth was for crystals. I think those were all of our
think that's it.
guests. Yeah.
I mean, we've only been doing this for 8 weeks, and you listed
Exactly.
6, 7 people.
Yes, we had 2 weeks where we did 2 guests, and then today we had a guest. So yeah, 8 weeks actually, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then for our last page, we've been working on merpups, which I didn't finish yet. I still have to finish the water and finish these 2 fishes over here. But we had multiple lessons on this. This was a color along where you guys told me which colors to use next, and it was a surprise every night. I had no idea what you guys were going to say, and I was only allowed to use that color. This is done the fish, and this
powder?
is powder and finish.
Finish and done.
Finish and done.
Sound like lawyers. Oh, we had Kat on.
And we had Kat on, of course. We had Kat on. Yeah.
She just told us.
Me. Of course, we had Kat on. We even were singing all the cat songs.
Oh, 'cause everybody wants to be a cat.
And I had my
I
cat
haven't sung
ears.
anything in a while.
You have not.
Oh wait, actually, I was singing. Matt.
That's right. And then we did a reveal of my new pages, which of course were inspired entirely. I think we don't need light for these because they're line art. These were inspired entirely by this experience, by having survival coloring to begin with. So since we're not going to bring you daily shows anymore, instead we're switching the program to other types of entertainment, including bringing you more pages. So every few weeks I will be releasing a new 4-page set called Back to Better, because
Now keep the flag.
that is what we believe is happening. We believe that the world will not only recover to normal, but things will go back to better. So Back to Better is the new series of pages that are up on Etsy, and this is the first one. So many people are already coloring. This is everyone's favorite page. It's called Heroes. There are a lot of colorings of this all over Facebook already, and it's super exciting. So these are just some of the things that we did on survival coloring. It's been epic. It's been amazing. We made a lot of new friends. A lot of new patrons joined. A lot of people on Etsy buying the sets. Thank you kindly. Today there were 2 people who made really significant purchases, buying pretty much all of my books. So I thank both of you for that. That is super helpful, and I hope you enjoy the books, and of course post your colorings in my group. Oh, I have another announcement. One of our colorists, Birgit, has her own YouTube channel. I am super excited when you guys start your own YouTube channels. I cannot encourage you more. Just go forth. Be create, inspire. Biggie's channel is very cool. Her videos are very short, very nicely produced. The last one that I saw that she posted was about doing an engraving on wood, like burning the lines into it. So like very much like my line art, but in like burnt etching on wood. Very, very cool. So the link to her channel is also in this video's description. Do check it out. Show her some love. New channels are very difficult to feed and keep afloat. So please do support us in the community. And speaking of supporting us in the community, if you have not yet clicked the magic button, there's no excuse. Do it.
Lots of people have clicked the magic button.
Have you?
Yes.
Oh,
see, it's blue.
I see. It's blue. Thank you. And
no,
you
when I did my
not?
subliminal suggestion earlier, people were like, "What is that?" I'm like, I don't know. Do you feel compelled to click the? No. Thanks to all of you who clicked the like button.
Thank you. And let's see what else we
Was this,
talked about.
was this too much? Should I not do this? It wasn't actually my idea. I'm just being
I
blamed for
stuck it on, actually.
Notice it's colored in. I don't color.
So I think, what else do I have? I had notes somewhere on what to say and who to say it to. We have a new channel. Thank you, patrons, of course. Amazing, amazing having you guys as my second art family, as our secret little club. The Feather Wolves are gathering this Sunday. Oh, we have some new wolves with us, our new pups who will be joining us for the first time this Sunday for this glass coloring tutorial. So stay tuned for that if you're a wolf. If you're not in my pack, we will release the video, the recording of this 30 days after it happens. So you will still get to see what we do. But what we do in secret remains secret because we are the wolves.
Rochelle just popped in and said, "Hello, Lisa. How are you?"
Oh, thank you. I'm wonderful.
And somebody, MC, says that she can't see a like button on her phone. Do you know where it is?
Oh, yes. You have to actually make the live chat go away to click the like button. It's very confusing. It took me 3 months to figure that out.
Hang on. I'm going to open my phone
Yeah,
right now.
you
just
actually,
some
with the
random...
live chat open, there's no like button. You have to...
Oh my gosh. It's ads in Spanish for things I'm never going to buy.
You have to...
Okay, I'm gonna stop that. Oh, interesting. Okay, so in a regular video, it shows right up. So you're saying that the live chat occupies this
Yes,
spot?
the live chat takes away the like button. So you have to click live chat so that it goes away, and then the like button appears. It's very confusing.
Okay.
And
Well, you can like it after it ends too. That's
yes,
okay.
that's true. And very, very special thank you to my friend Mary Harding for that
Hi, Mary.
a hit and run drop off of a care package
Oh,
that
that
she
was
left.
hysterical. We're so dead.
Mary lives about 45 minutes away from us, and we haven't seen each other in several months because of the quarantine. And the other day Tek and I were out like moving wood around and doing some setting up rat traps, whatever we were doing outside, and I get a WhatsApp message from Mary saying that there are 2 boxes by the gate for me. Like she just drove by.
The gate's like 100 meters that way. In
left
front of the
me
property.
boxes. Inside the gate.
Apparently they have the combination
because
to
she
our
has
gate.
the combination. The dogs said
the
nothing
dog
because
said
they know
nothing.
them.
Yeah, so we're like in a high security environment. 2 people snuck onto our property, left 2 boxes worth of stuff, and snuck back out. And then afterwards, we're like, dead.
It was a hit and run, but she left me an amazing, amazing care package filled with treasures, some dresses from when she just got married back in the day, and they're amazing, wonderful, beautiful dresses, which I wish I could wear, but it's really cold now, so I'm scared. They're like sexy slips of dresses. They're things that we need.
I'm going to turn on all of the fires in the house. I'm going to make this house super warm, and then you can wear the super sexy slips of somethings.
Yes, they are very cool, and you will see me wearing them for the special shows. So thank you, Mary, for the gifts. And she also included an organizer for the Drawer of Doom. Those of us who were with us for the Christmas show know my Drawer of Doom with the silverware. It's finally going to get organized. So
this is our organizational strategy for flatware. Open the drawer, drop the flatware, close the drawer.
Yes.
Mary just can't have it.
It's quite dangerous in there. You never know what's going to bite
There's
you.
knives and measuring spoons and whisks. Whisks are
It's terrible.
creatures.
We call it the Drawer of Doom because that is what it is. But once I get it organized, I will show that to you guys as well. So
You're going to show them that we organized the silverware drawer?
Of course, because they saw lenses of the Drawer of Doom. They have to see it organized.
And tune in next week when I'm going to fold my socks.
Yes, nobody folds their socks. You're ridiculous. All right, this is getting out of control. Go color something. Seriously, thank you so much, you guys, for our final farewell gift. We have one last surprise for you. We won't tell you what it is. You just have to watch. Bye. Don't lick strangers.
Don't lick strangers. We will see you again very soon.
Very soon.
This is the way the lane drives. Trot, 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 trot. This is the way the gentleman rides. Galloping trot, galloping trot. This is the way the foolish ride. Hobble-dee-ho, hobble-dee-ho. This is the way the jockeys ride. Go.